when this lonely 55-year-old woman decides to finally experience everything she missed in her marriage. She hires this young, handsome stranger who promises to fulfill every desire she's ever been afraid to admit. But every fantasy comes with a price, and soon, she's left to wonder if she's truly ready for the consequences of her adventure. In the opening scene of the movie, we see Nancy Stokes, who is a 55-year-old woman, anxiously waiting for someone in a hotel room. She keeps checking her bag, glancing at the mirror, and even applying 2 face packs just to steady her nerves. But the moment she hears a knock at the door, everything stops. She eventually goes to open it, as we see a handsome young man standing there. His name was Leo Grande. He's the person she is waiting for, and as soon as he steps inside, he gently kisses her on the cheek. The gesture instantly warms her up, though she remains visibly nervous. Meanwhile, we see that Leo is someone who makes women feel special for a living, and tonight, Nancy is hoping to find a little happiness of her own. But seeing how young and attractive he is, she can't help feeling insecure about her age. Leo notices this, so he tries to put her at ease as he offers her a drink from the fridge. Then they sit together to talk, so that they can slowly ease into the moment. Nancy compliments him, as she admits that he looks even better than in his photos. And in her shy state, she nervously asks if he received the payment. To this, Leo nods as he assures her that everything's already taken care of. That's when she asks the question that's been bothering her, if he feels uncomfortable being with an older woman. Although Leo assures her he doesn't mind at all, he could still sense her hesitation. So he leans in and kisses her again, in an attempt to help her relax. Then, he gently asks about her fantasies, as he wants to understand what she truly wants from him. But Nancy can't answer since for her, she just wants things to happen quickly, so she can leave. However, Leo explains that it doesn't work that way, and that he's supposed to spend the entire night with her. In the end, Nancy starts to slowly open up as she tells Leo that her husband passed away 2 years ago, and even before that, she never actually felt the spark she had always longed for. Leo listens carefully, and as they talk, Nancy walks to the window and starts revealing more about herself, that she used to be a teacher, and that she has even written books about men like him. Suddenly, she turns the conversation on him, as she asks why he chose this line of work. Leo tries to avoid the question at first, but after she presses on, he eventually admits that he's doing it to pay for college. That makes Nancy smile as she tells him that she has 2 children, though neither really gets along with her. After a while, Leo kisses her again and tries to guide her toward the bed. But Nancy is still very much hesitant as she tells him that she'd love to know him a little more before anything happens. She then proceeds to ask him about the oldest woman he's ever been with. To her surprise, Leo tells her that he once spent time with an 82-year-old client. When she hears this, Nancy laughs softly as she's nowhere near that age. When she asks what he likes most about her, Leo pulls her closer and leans in again. But before he can get any closer, Nancy suddenly excuses herself to the bathroom. While there, she changes into a special dress she's bought for the occasion, as she washes her face and hands and tries to steady herself. Meanwhile, Leo waits for her, and he even snacks on some chocolate to pass the time. When Nancy finally opens the door, Leo could only stare at her as we see that he's genuinely stunned by how beautiful she looks for her age. He tells her so, however, when he leans in for a kiss, Nancy quietly tells him that he has a strange smell in his breath. That is when Leo realizes that it must be from the chocolate as he goes to brush his teeth. A few minutes later, when Leo returns, he finally notices that Nancy isn't just shy, she's actually afraid. And when he approaches her, she tells him that if he wants to leave, he is free to, and that she won't ask for the money back. However, Leo only gently reassures her, as he tells her that he is not going anywhere until she is happy. This seems to calm Nancy down a bit as they both sit on the bed, and Leo tries to lighten the atmosphere, and slowly, Nancy begins opening up once more. That is when Leo shares that his mother believes he works in the oil fields, and that she knows nothing about his real job. That leads Nancy to talk about her own family as she tells him about her children, and a husband who never truly cared for her. He would come home, eat, and sleep, never asking what she needed or how she felt. Talking about this made her eyes fill with tears, as she admits that she just wants to feel alive again. Leo simply listens to her, and when she finishes, he moves closer and kisses her, as they finally share their first intimate moment together. A few days later, Nancy calls Leo again, and when he arrives, she tells him that she enjoyed their last time together, especially the way he made her feel seen. But this time, she tells him that she has made a list of all the things she never dared to do, and that she wants to try them one by one. Leo smiles when she reads them out to him, as he promises to help her rebuild her confidence. So, they begin with the first item, with Nancy still nervous but willing. Leo once again tries to reassure her, as he reminds her that she doesn't have to rush. But just as things start to settle down between them, Nancy's phone rings. When she answers, she discovers that it's her daughter who needs help with something. When she steps aside to answer the call, Leo quietly looks at himself in the mirror, as if looking into the distance for a moment. It's as if the life he's been living just to earn money is finally catching up to him. However, when Nancy returns, he quickly notices the worry on her face, and wanting to lift her spirits, he suddenly asks if she wants to dance. Nancy is surprised by the sudden request as she smiles and agrees. So, Leo plays a soft tune from his phone and gently takes her hand. She had earlier told him that she loved dancing, but never once had the opportunity to dance with her husband. And now, as Leo guides her across the room, we see Nancy light up, and for the first time in years, she smiles like a young woman again. But they are interrupted again when her phone rings once more, as her daughter calls again. However, this time, Nancy hesitates. But when Leo jokingly offers to tell her daughter she's busy, Nancy stops him with a smile and takes the call herself. By the time she returns, she seems calmer, but also exhausted. Seeing this, Leo gently suggests giving her a massage, and as she nods in agreement, he softly works on her shoulders, as Nancy finally lets herself breathe. She feels cared for, and as he continues, Leo quietly tells her that she should book him for a longer time, and that maybe being around him will help with her loneliness. But Nancy could only smile sadly as she wished she could afford it. Then, out of nowhere, she suddenly requests Leo to remove his shirt, as she simply briefly admires him, and then proceeds to touch him. She hasn't been this close to someone young and strong in years, as this reminds her how much time has passed. And when she turns to look at her reflection in the mirror, she tells Leo that she doesn't think that she's beautiful anymore, and that she is old now. However, Leo reassures her that if only she can see from his perspective, she will know that she's still beautiful. To lift her spirits, he suggests that they play a game. But Nancy doesn't laugh. Instead, she grows emotional, as tears start forming in her eyes. So Leo decides to change his approach and starts telling her lighthearted stories about his other clients, about women he's helped feel confident again. They share wine as they talk, until their conversation totally opens up and Leo talks about his work, the people he meets, and how most of them are lonely, looking more for someone to listen to them, more than anything else. They talk for hours until the heaviness slowly fades away. And that night, something shifts between them, and in the days that follow, as their meetings continue, that quiet connection only grows stronger. Leo begins caring for Nancy in a way he never expected he would, and Nancy slowly starts to develop feelings that go far deeper than just a casual companionship. However, at their next meeting, as they talk as usual, Nancy suddenly suggests that Leo should tell his mother the truth about his work, as she believes that it might help him heal. But we see that her words instantly tense him up, as he doesn't want to talk about the issue. Then Nancy, who is trying to be honest, admits to Leo that she knows his real name and that when she first booked him, she had looked him up, just to know who he really is. After hearing this, Leo's expression totally changes as his face hardens in anger, and he tells her that she has no right to do that. It is immediately obvious that he doesn't like anyone prying into his personal life. In his anger, he stands to leave. But before he leaves, he tells Nancy never to call him again, and though Nancy tells him that she didn't mean to hurt him, Leo's mind is made up as he walks away. That is when she calls out his real name, a gesture that's the final trigger for Leo as he spins back, with his face filled with pain. He tells Nancy that she doesn't know him or what he has been through. And for the first time, he admits to the truth as he tells her that his real name is Conan and that his relationship with his mother had shattered years ago, back when he was still in school. She had discovered something about his private life. And from that moment, she cut him off completely. He then tells Nancy that he had only started doing this work just to survive, because for his mother, he's as good as dead. With that, he storms out, leaving Nancy alone in the heavy silence. A few minutes later, Leo re-enters the room and tells Nancy that he forgot his phone. His frustration is evident as he searches the room, tossing things aside, until he finally finds it. Then, he looks at her one last time and tells her that he'll make sure she gets her money back, as he walks out again. Days later, we see Nancy sitting alone in a hotel lounge as we learn that she's asked Leo to meet her there. While waiting, she unexpectedly runs into Anna, who is one of her old students who now works there as a waitress. Embarrassed by the unexpected encounter, Nancy quickly makes an excuse for being there as she tells Anna that she's just waiting for a customer to sell her car. Fortunately for her, Leo arrives just then as we learn that he came only because she kept asking. Nancy forces a smile and apologizes again for her behavior the last time. She even tells him that she mentioned him to a friend, because she trusted him. Leo quietly listens to her before telling her that he told his mother everything, and although she couldn't care less, he feels like a burden had just lifted off his shoulder. Nancy looks at him with a mix of surprise and warmth as she informs him that he is glad he did, and that being with him made her feel alive again. Just then, Anna walks across the table, and Nancy even decides to tell her about her relationship with Leo. Now, free from all the secrets issues between them, the two once again meet in the hotel room. And this time, there's no pretense for them as they share an intimate moment together. When they are done, we see that both of them know this will be their final meeting. Nancy finally understands what he truly gave her, confidence, and the strength to love herself again. And when Leo says goodbye and walks away, Nancy stands before the mirror as she looks at her reflection and thinks deeply, if the adventure was really worth it. As for Leo, our imagination is left to wonder what will become of him in life. And that is the recap of the movie. Good luck to you, Leo Grande. If you loved this video, don't forget to leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and also leave a comment for us. Thanks for watching and see you in the next one.